a toast.
Okay.
To finality and closure.
Oh, baby.
I mean, what can you say about 7 years of fights, laughter, secrets, cheesecake?
Four elderly women living together in a house. It could never be. It could never happen.
And the moment I took out that script, it was on yellow backing, yellow covers, in this lovely black print that said The Golden Girls. And I thought, this is going to be good. Every once in a while, one of us would say, aren't we the luckiest old broads you ever saw in your life?
An agent called me and said, I hear you're doing a thing called Golden Girls. So I said, I know absolutely nothing about this. Well, it turns out the script had the character of Dorothy as a B. Arthur type.
Well, thank you very much. But if anybody is going to put my mother out in the cold, it's going to be me.
Finally, I was sent the script. It was like nothing I had ever read before. And I just thought, what a great script. I'm going to do it.
Hey!
Will you look at that? Man's best friend. Chasing man's best friend.
I had been doing Mama's Family, playing Aunt Fran. Well, they killed off Aunt Fran. They had her choked to death on a chicken bone. Golden Girls came along a year later, and I said, I love this script, and I am perfect for the role of Blanche. Well, they had Betty White in mind for that part. They want you to read for Rose. And I said, oh no, that would be agony, not to be able to play Blanche. And Jay Sandra, who was going to direct the pilot, he listened to me read the role of Rose, and he said, look at the role of Blanche. And I said, well, if you insist.
Look at the shameless way she's flirting with him.
You flirted with him?
Flirting is part of my heritage.
What do you mean?
Her mother was a slut, too.
They sent a script to me at first to be Blanche. Jay Sandrich said, if Betty plays Blanche, it's just a little twist on Sue Ann Nivens. Why doesn't she try Rose?
Rose, you know I said I'm sorry. Can't you put yourself in my position?
I wasn't sure who Rose was. And Jake said Rose believes the exact meaning of every word she hears.
Stan and I went through a period where we had no marital relations at all. I totally cut off his sex.
You mean it grows back?
I worked with Rue 5 years on Maude. We were sort of the Ethel and Lucy of the 70s. I hadn't worked with Betty. Of course, I knew her work, but I hadn't known anything about Estelle Getty. I mean, that to me was so brilliant.
You're just upset because I won't take the first thing they bring out.
You don't take anything they bring out.
I took you.
I met Estelle for the first time at the reading. She was the first one hired. My relationship with Sophia was established in the pilot. When she called me a tramp, or words to that effect, I laughed delightedly, like, you sweet little old thing. Aren't you funny?
Oh, Sophia, honey, how nice to see you.
Who are you?
It's me, Blanche.
You look like a prostitute.
When we sat down for the read-through, it was such a thrill to sit with those other three wonderful gals. I knew this was a winner. When we read it around the table, everybody knew it was a winner.
I cannot tell you, going to the table, the entire company, we'd have to applaud the writers. It was lovely.
When we opened, we were #1, and Cosby, who owned the world at that time, he was #2. We got nominated for 17 Emmys the first year. The reaction was just sensational.
Well, aren't you excited?
I'm lactating.
It's character humor, and that's worldwide. That's why we're in umpteen countries all over the world. Here is strong Dorothy being pushed around by little Sophia, her mother.
Women like me don't grow on trees.
Too bad. We could use the shade.
with Estelle and me. It was a love-hate, but it was genuine. And the fact that physically we were so different. I recently saw Laurel and Hardy doing a little dance, and Hardy was so beautiful, it was so delicate. There was something similar to Estelle. So brilliant, so funny, and so dirty.
I think probably Sophia had more sex than anybody else. She was always with somebody. She even was with the Japanese gardener.
Who the hell is this?
I think it's one of the great comic duos ever.
Lifesaver?
Yeah, go to hell.
I have been asked so many times how much of you is in Blanche. Blanche was a man-crazy, vain, self-centered man-killer from Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm not from Atlanta.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
Rose sort of felt very much the way Betty felt. She thinks everything's going to have a happy ending. Of course, I didn't think that Hitler was my second grade teacher, but Rose did.
You can't come in here. This house has been quarantined. We all have, Quick, Rose, give me a deadly disease.
Oh, I'm sorry, Blanche, I don't have a deadly disease.
It was the first time that elderly women had been seen well-groomed and coiffed and didn't smell bad. I mean, they had active sex lives.
They did, after all, become a real family.
She is your mother. She's 85 years old and she wants a new pair of shoes. How many more chances do you think you're gonna have to buy her shoes?
You want to take her?
Screw that, she's your mother.
It starts with a written word and the fact that you had 4 damn good actresses.
She has a date.
Oh.
Is that true, Dorothy? Do you have a date tonight?
Rose, I mean, that's an awfully personal question. Yes!
We get the credit, but we couldn't do it without that writing.
We never had a script until the morning of rehearsal, and then it was spent practically falling over each other with laughter.
The writers were so phenomenal, Susan Harris and Paul Witt and Tony Thomas, that we were like 4 points on a compass. Somehow they hit on very serious problems and still managed to keep the audience amused.
I have a warrant for your arrest. I'll have to ask you to come with me.
What for?
Violation of the city's housing codes. Lady, you're a slumlord.
Dorothy, don't worry. We'll have you out of jail in no time. I'll get the best attorney Social Security can buy.
Susan Harris is remarkable. A scene would need help, and she'd write another whole scene, and it was magic what she could do.
And whenever there was a problem, she could step in and make it right. And of course, it turned out to be wonderful.
The fact that we were 4 mature women helped. We could be a little racier than younger girls if they did some of the things or talked about some of the things we did. How was the sex?
So good we named it!
I sometimes wake in the middle of the night and think of a line, and I start laughing and can't stop. There was just so many goodies. Rue would go to the Rusty Anchor to sing and pick up men, and she got up and did Making Whoopee. I couldn't even believe it. She's sitting on some man's lap, and she said, is that a gun, or are you...
Just happy to see me.
I don't know that people thought that older women shouldn't talk about sex. In fact, we got away with murder.
We weren't questioned. Very seldom were we ever told that's a little, whether it was because all the women were older and could get away with it, I don't know.
The second year we had the first show, the other women tell Blanche, always be on the bottom. Don't be on top, because your flesh will fall forward and you look awful. Oh, she said, that's ridiculous. So they get her a mirror, and I take the mirror and I put it on the stove and I lean over it. I think, oh my God. And then Try it this way. Oh, it was wonderful. I don't remember the rest of that show, but I can't forget that scene.
One of my favorite episodes was when Estelle entered the two of us in a mother-daughter beauty contest at Shady Pines. For the talent section, we did I Got You, Babe, dressed as Sonny and Cher. I weep because it was so clever.
Oh, for goodness sakes! Why, you two could be celebrity lookalikes.
Oh, Blanche, honey, you really think so?
Well, absolutely. So, which one's Cheech and which one's Charles?
I loved everything that had to do with Estelle taking her back to the old apartment in New York where I was a kid. I opened the door and there's a Puerto Rican there, and I put my hand over her mouth. Now look, Ma, I don't want you to be disappointed if the new tenants don't let us in.
Buenos dias.
Oh, God.
And that just happened. Well, the laugh went on for days.
Miami Vice was a big show at that time. Don Johnson was going to be a guest on some charity thing that the girls were doing, and he couldn't show up, so they hung his clothes on the wall. For some reason or other, Beeve got laughing. Well, of course, when somebody laughs like that, we all did, but we could all stop. She couldn't. It was just delicious.
I thought, what fun we're having. I don't think there'll ever be anything quite like that again.
I think any show that's as successful as Golden Girls, it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. If you don't feel proud of being a part of a show that has that kind of track record, then shame on you. That's a privilege.
I thought, we've done 7 great years. We cannot do anything better, and it's time to stop.
You know this is the first day of the last season. It puts an atmosphere in the air that you're aware of in the back of your mind at all times.
We counted the weeks. It went much too fast.
It got harder as the season got shorter. It got more sentimental. That was a family for 7 years, and all of a sudden, we're all breaking up.
Well, it's been an experience that I'll always keep very close to my heart.
We were so close, all 4 of us. It was, my God, I'm leaving my home. I'm leaving.
You're angels. All of you.
That was truly an emotional experience when she left.
Dorothy, is this goodbye?
I mean, for me, at least, it was not Dorothy leaving. It was Bea leaving and the show being over.
You knew it was over for real because she was going away with Leslie Nielsen. I'd have gone away with Leslie Nielsen, but then you know how I am.
I love you. And I want to know, will ya?
I think he's going to ask her out again.
Well, most people jumped out of windows or something, right? I was delighted. I thought it was a nice way to get me out of that crazy house with a lot of love intact.
Everything's got to end sometime, and you got to go forward.
All my memories are visual. I see the set, the living room, the kitchen. I feel the energy on that set and the energy in the writers around the table.
The fact that we all won Emmys was marvelous and much appreciated. But again, it goes back to the fact that we had the best material with which to work.
The best writers, the best team. It took 200 people to put that show on every week. It's funny, yes. It's very funny. But the feeling of warmth and the dignity that their friendships engendered, it's an unbeatable combination.
We were aware of it right from the beginning. Nobody had ever seen anything like it.
We knew at the time what a privilege it was.
We were fabulous.
You'll always be my sisters. Always.